Hello and welcome back to the Taylor Seminars where we talk about how Taylor Swift turns life into poetry. I'm here with my beautiful co-host Exquisite. Hello.
Hi, Hannah.
Oh my gosh, I am so excited. We have made it to the end of Midnight's, at least the 3 a.m. edition, with track 20, Dear Reader. How are you feeling?
I just feel like we understand Midnight's on a level that many don't get. And we have finally come to the end of our Dare Midnights and everything she has to tell us.
Oh, our dear Midnights. I love that.
Our beloved Midnights, even.
Our album of
I
the
don't know.
year Midnights, really.
Literally, our album of the year, Midnights. Because when you think about it, and the reason I know we get Midnights in a much more deeper and more ethical way than everyone else is no. Do you remember me and Hannah? I was making playlists and I was explaining my playlists to Hannah and I was dividing Midnights up by what it meant. And then all of a sudden, here comes Taylor stealing my playlist and exactly like down to the song. Like she did exactly what I said. Each
Oh my
each song on
goodness.
Midnight's classified into different like there were different classifications for every song on Midnight's. And then here comes Taylor and it's like there's different classifications for all these songs. And she did what I said. I don't know. So we just understand Midnight's on a just deeper level than many.
Yeah, and we are so glad to be here at the closing track, especially because this is what Taylor has been doing quite a bit, is giving you a second ending to an album, right?
Hmm.
We had that with Folklore, with Hoax in the Lakes, with Evermore just had Evermore, I think, but then here with Mastermind and Dear Reader, and then TTBD obviously had Clairbow and the manuscript.
I think Evermore's second ending
Oh wait, right where
is
you
where
left
you
me.
left me.
I stand corrected. You're right. You're right. Evermore had double endings as well, and so, yeah. I mean, if you compare this to the original ending of Midnight's Mastermind, which is so triumphant, and
Hmm.
she is in control of her universe. Yes, he knew the entire time that she was a mastermind, but still, she is a
Yeah.
mastermind. But here, girl is lonely and drunk and sad in a house all alone.
Yeah. This is we say Taylor like sets up these alternate realities. And this one she really was like, I'm hoping this is not the truth of what I am going through, but it was, unfortunately. That was the ending that she this was her bad ending, quote unquote. I would say bad, quote unquote. Like certainly not what she wanted, but it certainly led for the better. So
Yeah, I think at the time, I remember people were debating, like, is this Taylor now? Like, well, I guess when she released the album, like the Taylor of when the album dropped. I remember people saying, like, maybe this is her when, like, 1989, post 1989, pre rep era, where she was so villainized and felt so isolated from the world. I think it could still have bits of that as well. I mean,
hmm.
with 2020 vision now, we could definitely say like, "Ooh, no, definitely she was going through stuff during this time
Yeah.
that we did not obviously know about in her personal life."
Yeah.
But
It always, yeah, I would just say it always felt like hoaxy to me, like Hoax
mhm.
the song, and how with Hoax the song, she kind of like brushed it off and was like, "Oh, I don't know what it's about. I was just writing." Um, and so when I first heard Dare Reader, I was like, "Oh, okay, okay." Um, she doesn't know what it's about. She's just writing. She's just exploring like the mad woman in the attic type deal. The like loner. Like she was already exploring this idea of being a monster on the hill,
Mhm.
and Dare Reader is like a monster on the hill again.
Yeah, the
So I was like, okay, she's going more in that character. But I was also like, okay, lower.
yeah, I think it's one of those like your ears kind of pricked up. Like, why is she
Mhm.
exploring this? And why is she exploring this now? And looking back, you're
Exactly.
like, oh, like that was a sign. But obviously, it was her trying to grapple with the fact that on the outside, yeah, everything looked shiny and sparkly, but inside, my face
You
was
know.
gray, but you couldn't admit that we were sick. That
Mm-hmm.
vibe.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let us
Mid
dive in.
resuscitation even.
Yes, mid
She's like
resuscitation.
doing
Ooh.
CPR.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Well, yeah, let's dive in. Dear
Yeah.
reader, if it feels like a trap, you're already in one. Dear reader, get out your map, pick somewhere, and just run. Dear reader, burn all the files, desert all your past lives, and if you don't recognize yourself, that means you did it right. Let me just read the chorus.
Yeah.
Never take advice from someone who's falling apart. Never take advice from someone who's falling apart. You should find another.
I would just like to say, I love the way she is directly addressing, and it's an interesting way to address the audience here because you would think as a singer, she would be like, "Dear listener." But here it's "Dear reader," not only because, Taylor is aware that people are actively reading her lyrics. There are some artists who are like singing and they sing and nobody cares what their lyrics are saying. Taylor's not one of those. Taylor is not one of those artists, and everyone who like keeps track of her, she knows people are going to go in and investigate her lyrics
Yeah.
for every little thing they can get out of it. So it is like their reader there. But also, if you are a keen and loyal listener to the Taylor seminars, Hannah, do you remember when we first got the title, the Albatross, and we started talking about the Rhyme of the Ancient Mariner, and how that the main character in that is telling, he is being told a story
Mm-hmm.
by the Ancient Mariner.
Mm-hmm.
This song is Taylor being our Ancient Mariner, telling us a story.
Yeah, this is a very I don't want yeah, this is a known thing that people use, like I guess literary writing device where you are addressing
Yeah.
the person. Um I mean, the what I thought of was Jane Eyre. Because in
Hmm.
Jane Eyre, she talks to like the reader, like she knows.
Yeah, it's a direct address.
Yeah, yeah. I think the famous one is like, "Reader, I married him."
Hmm.
And I've seen other people. Um, yeah, I mean, and then Dear is like, and Dear Reader is definitely like a, in the most basic form, it's a letter, right? Like,
Hmm.
Dear, and this is very much to whomever it may concern, right? Almost like a an advice column, even, right? Because she's giving um, all this pearls of wisdom that she has.
Hmm.
And so I do think it's so fascinating that she has a song where she's breaking the fourth wall to her
I know.
fans, um, where she's being super vulnerable, I think, because of this kind of fourth wall direct address she's doing in the
Yeah,
song.
and now I'm thinking about it. This is one of the only songs where it's like Taylor has a lot of meta songs and a lot of songs that deal with her own like concept of fame, right? But is this not one of the only songs where it's like, oh, this is a direct address to the people who are listening to her? Versus like she has songs that are like the you in the song is like the lover, or the you is like the metaphorical family.
Yeah.
Here the you is directly the reader, the listener, us.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it is one of the very few ones. I'm
Because yeah, even in Long Live, like the you in Long Live is her band,
right.
even though it's also the audience, right? It's
Yeah.
her band. Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, because
this one is
usually,
like,
yeah, I
yeah,
think she's very, yeah, because even songs like, yeah, like I forgot that you existed is to a person.
yeah.
But yeah, I don't think she really breaks the fourth wall that much in, especially her earlier work. If I can think of any as I do it, I will let you know.
But I think I'm thinking like this is one of the only ones because like where the you cannot be interpreted as like a lover or like a family member or somebody's close. Like the you here is the reader. Like she's letting us know, the reader, the listener, so us, right? And the very first bit of advice she gives us is, if it feels like a trap, you're in one.
Yep. Yep.
Very, this whole song, she's very straightforward and didactic. She's like, these are the lessons I've learned for being the type of person I am. Feels like you're in a trap, you're in one. um you need to run away.
Yeah. The
And
bolter.
exactly. And she's like, get out your map, pick anywhere, pick anywhere. And I think what's interesting about some of this advice that's being given is, Hannah, how much of this advice do you think is good, or how much do you think is maybe self-sabotaging? Like these are like not to quote Lord, but lessons from a girl who's seen it all, right?
No,
So she,
exquisite. This first verse reminds me of all the wrong lessons because she does all of these things in TTPD and just fucks up her
hmm
life, right? Like she feels
yep,
like she jumps out of the oven and into the microwave, right? Gets out her map, runs
hmm
to Florida, runs to
hmm
I can fix him, no really I can. Deserts
hmm
all her past lives so that she doesn't even recognize herself. She is running with her
exactly.
dress unbuttoned. She is screaming, but daddy, I loved him. She
hmm
doesn't even recognize herself, and then will suddenly wake up and realize
Yeah.
she's been ghosted by a man who pretentiously types on a typewriter.
Yeah, and it's also like the burn all your files there, desert all your past lives is very interesting because we know Taylor could not do that. Like her past and all her past music and past files, all that stuff, it was so locked behind glass that she couldn't stop revisiting it until she got it back. Um, so it's like that she's not doing she didn't do that. Versus like she's like, this is what I should have done. I should have just given it up. I shouldn't have maybe re-recorded it. Maybe I shouldn't have unearthed all
Ooh.
this pain. Like maybe that's what she's like, maybe I should not have like revisited Speak Now and revisited Red because this is why I'm here now. I should have just burned it all.
That's crazy. I like that
I
interpretation
know,
a
right?
lot.
It's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
It's
And
interesting.
but then that's I think a fascinating then connection to the manuscript where
Mm-hmm.
she still has it and she sometimes returns to it, but she's really
Mm-hmm.
able to separate herself from it now and let it go. Like she doesn't have to burn them or
Exactly.
desert them. Like it's there. It's a
Yeah.
part of me, but I've healed, I've grown, and I love who I am now. It's not that I don't recognize
Yeah.
myself. It's like I am me.
What's interesting, like when you destroy, because I've done my fair share of destroying files. Like when I graduated high school, I like threw my book bags out. But like there's destroying where you just take it all, you burn it, you throw it out. Versus if you are making something a manuscript, that is like you went through every page, you read it, you put it together, you acknowledged it, and then you opened it up to the world. Versus
Mm,
bringing it in, not looking at it, not examining closely, and just destroying. And it's like by not acknowledging and sitting with any of that, then you're still going to be in this agony. Like you're still going to get burned
yeah.
from burning your files.
Yeah.
Versus what we get with the manuscript, where she's like, okay, it's there, but I can do something with this and I do not have to bury it. I don't have to keep returning it over and over again. But because I sat with this, I know and can learn. So it's very interesting to hold Dear Reader and the manuscript kind of in conversation with each other, Hannah.
Yeah. I mean, and I think I guess the irony or whatever, if it's not irony, the fact that she gives all this advice and then in the chorus says, never take advice from someone who's falling apart.
Which is so, she is like, and it's like the hint, it's the hint, right? It's the hint.
The hint that she's not doing well.
Yeah.
Yeah, hey, I'm falling apart. And as I'm sinking into this quicksand, let me give you my final words of advice. But I did get myself into this quicksand, so maybe don't take my advice. It's very like this swirl of like bad decisions and regret that are just swirling around like in a toilet bowl.
Mm-hmm.
But it's so
Oh my
sad.
goodness.
She really thinks she's falling apart. Um, it's like my boy only breaks his favorite toys, right? Like she is
Mm-hmm.
all smashed up and feeling so broken and unable to pull herself back together.
Mm-hmm. And so then we get into that second verse, right? She set it up, giving us this advice, and then second verse, she's like, well, the chorus is like, don't take my advice. Then she's like, well, I'm gonna give you more advice. And the whole time there's this hinting because she doesn't tell us the full thing, but she keeps going, you should find another. And she keeps saying that, and we don't get what that whole thing is. And we're not gonna get what that whole thing is until a little later.
Right.
But that second verse is like, dear reader, bend when you can, snap when you have to. Dear reader, you don't have to answer just because they asked you. You should find another. Dear reader, the greatest of luxuries is your secrets. Dear reader, when you aim at the devil, make sure you don't miss. Never take advice from someone who's falling apart. Never take advice from someone who's falling apart. So that section is very interesting,
So interesting.
especially because it's like, it's to me, it's describing like when is the right time to lash out. because she's like, sometimes you should have lashed out. You should have maybe like lost your cool,
Yep.
right? Don't let them. I think it's an interesting idea of what we know from Taylor as a person, as self-described people pleaser. And she's like, here, she's like, sometimes you need to snap. You can't just bend and let them walk all over you.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a what is the phrase? Hold on, I had it. Bend until you bend until you break, kind of
Yeah.
thing. Like
Also, bend and snap, read Legally Blonde, but that's something
I
entirely different.
no, I was gonna mention it. I'm so glad you did. Like, because yeah, it doesn't mean anything, but as you know, people who watch Legally Blonde, bend and snap is like ingrained into your brain. Yeah, and then and and I mean, in this one, you could say like, yeah, I mean, that first part is like kind of good advice, and then this, you don't have to answer just because they asked you. Is also actually decent advice, like more or less. Dear readers,
Hmm.
the greatest of luxuries is your secrets, and when you aim at the devil, make sure you don't miss. I'm like, those are pretty decent, right? Like, I think
Hmm.
the first verse, I would say in most cases are not good advice. In this one, a little better, I guess.
I think especially because in the context of snap when you have to versus when you aim at the devil, she's like, look, if you're gonna snap, make sure you get all your ducks in a row.
Yeah.
Um, we have had instances of Taylor, like young Taylor. I sometimes I think about Taylor in the 1989 era, and I'm like, I thought you were so grown, but you're a baby. She did do one of those things where she like snapped maybe too early, and I'm gonna say she did it. I mean, I'm not gonna cast judgment on who was right or who was wrong here, but do you remember when she got into the slight Twitter beef with Nicki
I
Minaj?
do remember that.
And then Taylor was like, "Oh, I thought you were talking to me."
Yeah.
And then she like took it back and she apologized. But that's got to be like one of those things, a lesson she learned. She's like, sometimes you should just, I should have just been there versus I should have snapped here when I had to give that award to he who shall not be named,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. And it's like, but also, I now that I look at it, like, when you aim at the devil, make sure you don't miss is such a crazy piece of advice,
I
right?
know.
Like, what do you mean make sure I don't miss? Like,
It's not don't aim at the devil. She's like,
yeah.
no, no, you're gonna end up fighting the evil in your life.
Yeah, and it yeah, so and it implies, like you said, like that she's had misses and that she's been hurt so
Hmm.
bad. I mean, even in the last song we did, woulda coulda shoulda, right? She literally says she danced with the devil, right? Like,
Yeah.
um
And then the thing is, it's also like it's a Taylorism because the phrase is it's like when you come for the king, you better not miss.
yeah, yeah. Is this
Or
still
when
a
you aim for the crown or something.
uh
Hold on, I'm looking it up. But it's another Taylorism because typically it's not like typically that phrase is supposed to be like when you're coming for the top person,
yeah, she
you
definitely
need
made
to
I think
make
the
sure
devil
you
part
get
is
it.
definitely like a Taylorism.
But the Taylorism, I think it's something from the it basically is like when you go for the top of the row, like when you're trying to be the head, you need to make sure that you
Oh,
don't miss, right?
is it if you come at the king, you best not miss?
Yes, thank you.
It's
Or
from
it was
It's from The Wire, or it's popularized
yeah.
in The Wire. Okay, it was
Yeah, and
popularized in
it's
The
originally
Wire,
from Ralph Waldo Emerson.
adapted
And he
it.
said when you strike at a king, you must kill him,
Yeah,
basically,
and
and then
then
they just played on that.
yeah, but before that, but maybe Machiavelli.
Hmm.
Similar was if an injury has to be done to a man, it should be so severe that his vengeance need not to be feared.
Yeah.
But basically, yeah, it's a
Yeah.
very
And it's always like for people above you, like the king's above you,
yeah,
blah blah. She's like, look, not a king, the devil. Like I need you to understand.
yeah, yeah,
If you're going to strike at your worst enemies, get them.
yeah.
Do not let them come back.
And I do feel like this one seems to be a little more specific to her life, right? In terms of like how the media treats her, how she really valued privacy in this era, right? The dear reader, you don't have to answer just because they asked you. The greatest of luxuries is your secrets,
Hmm.
because that's what makes her more of a person versus somebody who's put out for display. Any case, let me jump into this bridge. So I wander through these nights. I prefer hiding in plain sight, my fourth drink in my hand, these desperate prayers of a cursed man spilling out to you for free. But darling, darling, please, you wouldn't take my word for it. if you knew where I was walking, or if you knew who was talking, if you knew where I was walking, to a house, not a home, all alone, 'cause nobody's there, where I pace in my pen, and my friends found friends who care. No one sees when you lose when you're playing solitaire. Oh my gosh.
Okay, Hannah. Before we move on, I'm gonna read something to you. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. You just read all that. They told me all of my cages were mental, so I got wasted like all my potential, and my words shoot to kill when I'm mad. I have a lots of regrets about that. I was so ahead of a curve that the curve became a sphere, fell behind all my classmates, and I ended up here, pouring out my heart to a stranger, but I didn't pour the whiskey. They're
Wow.
effectively the same thing, except she poured the whiskey this time. She's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, this is me trying. I remember her talking about this is me trying. She's like, sometimes when you're in a situation like that, the trying is just not drinking,
Yeah.
not drinking in that moment.
But in
And
this one,
here
it's
she,
not even
yeah,
just one drink, it's the
it's
fourth
fourth.
drink.
She's drunk and she's pouring her heart out to the strangers, us, and she's like, "Look, I'm wandering around." She's been setting up like never take advice from someone who's falling apart. And then she's like, "Here's why and how I'm falling apart." And it's like this drunk ramble.
Yeah.
This drunk. Just it's coming out, especially the way she sings it. It's like all running into each other
Yeah.
and she's just going. It's like a mega bridge as kind of
No,
because
I
it's
was actually on
oh.
TikTok today and someone was bopping to, I know you're not the biggest fan of the song, to Hits Difference Bridge. And
Mhm.
someone, the caption was like, I love whatever Taylor does here. I love it. When she just starts like spilling, right? She just can't
Mhm.
stop. The comments
When
were
she
so
links
funny.
the third verse into the bridge and
Yeah.
it's just all combined.
Yeah. And
Yeah, and
she's
yeah.
like, what do you call her? Tupac, Tapak?
That's
Tapak.
K-pop. Tupac Shakur, Taylor Swift, same initials. In fact, so far same initials. They got the same initial for the middle name, TAS. Like, come on. Tupac reincarnated.
He possessed
Okay.
her.
Exactly. So let's like break this down kinda. So I wandered through these nights. I prefer hiding in plain sight. That is like crazy. She's like, I'm just out. I'm just out.
I'm
I
hiding.
think
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. The hiding in plain sight of it, she's like, I am a wandering ghost. She's
Yeah.
just out there.
And like you might even see her, but you don't see her pain, right? Like
Hmm.
you might see me, but you don't see the real me.
Yeah, she's
And
hiding her pain in plain
hmm
sight.
and then we just talked about my fourth drink in my hand, guys. That's a lot of alcohol.
It
Um,
is one drink. Hannah's seen me off with 1.5 drinks.
I'm a lightweight as well, but also much less expensive, I will say.
Hmm.
These desperate prayers of a cursed man. Like, not only is
Ugh.
she, when we see desperate prayers, like she does in the prophecy, we've seen it up and down. She's been on her knees in the last song, but now she's like, I'm cursed. I'm not just a monster on a hill, I'm a cursed being.
And yeah, and the thing about being cursed of it all, and the thing about it's like desperate prayers is like she has no other hope. But when you combine that with a cursed man, it's like you have no hope for a reason, and those prayers are not going to be heard
Yep.
at all because you are cursed.
Yep.
That's just it. You
And
are cursed.
these desperate prayers are spilling. It's the crazy thing is the desperate prayers aren't being heard by a god or some deity.
Hmm.
They're just spilling out to us, right? This
I
audience, this like
know,
strangers at a bar, right? Like
and we
that's
know what the
so
prayers
sad.
are. That's the thing. We know what the prayers are. We just listened to all of the prayers.
Yeah, tracks one
And
through
it was for free.
19.
Like if you listened on Spotify, you listened for free. Like all those songs, she's like, these are my desperate prayers.
Yeah,
In fact, I low key could make a playlist that's like desperate prayers of Taylor Swift,
she's
and
gonna
it's
do
just
that.
like
I could see
I
her
might
the
do
wheels
it.
turning already.
I might do it. But we've like heard the desperate prayers
Yeah,
of like all oh my goodness, like all of Midnight's are these desperate prayers,
yeah,
and then the prophecy like it continues on.
yeah,
She's like begging to change the prophecy, change the curse.
yeah.
She's
You're
like,
losing me, which was also written around this time,
yep,
right? Like,
these like prayers and these like please anything. I'm begging for anything. And it's like she's like, I'm cursed. I know I'm cursed, and I'm still gonna pray and ask, and I'm just spilling it all out to you, right? And the you here, we've already said, and she's like made it known. The you is the audience, and we're listening to her. We can't do anything, but she is like, she then continue the but darling continuation is like she gives this like term of endearment to
To
us, the listener,
exactly.
the reader, and she's like, please, you wouldn't even care, you wouldn't take my word for anything I've ever sung to you if you knew where I was walking. She's like, would you believe like my bejeweled if you knew how I felt right now? Would you believe
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
I don't think you would.
Yeah, or like I have all these love songs that are some of the
Hmm.
greatest, and yet I am so lonely right now.
Like, are you gonna listen to my Paris, my imaginings? Would you believe that if you knew that I'm walking to a house, not a home? A
Yeah.
house, a house. Hannah, have we gone on the house versus home rant on this podcast?
Yes, I believe we have, but we could do it again.
I just, it's always so interesting whenever Taylor uses the word house and not home. Because for her, home is, I mean, she already told us home is where the heart is.
Yeah.
And
If
she's
he feels
like,
like home,
yeah,
right?
yeah. And she's like, I don't have a heart anymore. I don't have a home. It's just a
Yeah.
house. It's
You
just a house. A house
I
on the
left
heath,
all I
if you
knew.
will.
Yep. You left me at the
A house on the
house.
heath. Ugh. She's
Yeah.
a sick person. And I mean sick literally. She felt like she was sick. She was sick.
Yeah, cuz she's literally like she's pacing, right? She's so anxious and so bothered and
Hmm.
uncomfortable. She's pacing. And even though she
Spilling her
has
drink.
yeah, even though she sees she has friends, the friends are not there.
Hmm.
Right? They're caring for each other but not for her.
And I do think, like, okay, we have like that pace in my pen, and it's like she is a desperate wild animal, right? Animals pace in their pen. And
Yeah.
she's like, I am in this pen, um, and I'm going back and forth. And I do love the my friends found friends who care, because it's not to say her friends don't care about her, but it is to say she's aware that she pushed. I think there's an awareness of, I push people away and out of the pen. Maybe they wanted to come
Mm,
in with me and I said, get out, because this is, I don't even want to be here, but I'm in here. I'm in here and I'm pacing, trying to figure out what
yeah.
to do.
It also
Uh
reminds me of the caged language that she uses in the
mhm.
Insummation poem, right?
Mhm.
The caged something that makes the caged beast do curious things, right? And
Yeah.
also, who's afraid of little old me? I was tame, I was gentle, but the circus life made me mean.
Mhm.
A lot of language in there that speaks to the circus life. Um,
Exactly.
and then
In being caged.
do this last line, exquisite. It is so good.
No one sees when you lose when you're playing solitaire. And what's crazy about that is because Miss Taylor Swift loves a card game reference. She loves a love as a game reference. And she's like, well, I'm losing, but I'm losing to myself, so it doesn't matter. It's like almost like if a you know that, like, if a tree falls in a forest and nobody's around, does it make a sound? And it's like obviously it made a sound, but is that obvious? You weren't there to hear it and nobody was there to hear it. And she's like, is anybody here to watch me lose if no one's around to see that I'm struggling and suffering?
Yeah.
And I'm obviously not sharing that I'm struggling and suffering right now because
Yeah.
I'm not sharing to the extent. So, am I actually suffering in my house alone if no one is here to see it?
Yep.
And if no one is here to bear witness to the struggle, then am I actually, like, is this actually happening to me? And
Yeah. If I'm
now that I
alone, I'm
said that,
not a
yeah,
loser. Yeah.
exactly, right? And now that I said that, I'm like, oh wow, that's why she's writing. She knew what the agony was for. That's why she had to write it, because she can share like that pain. But again, when you're playing solitaire, and mind you, like, we used to have, what happened to devils roll their dice, angels roll their eyes? What happened to then you called, showed your
Yeah.
hand, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's no longer here.
Nope.
And then, Hannah, we get to what she had been hinting at the beginning. You want to read it? She
No, no,
kept
no. I
saying
did
we
the
could find
bridge. It's
another.
your turn to do the
Okay. Ah,
outro.
okay. Okay. So then she finally gives us, like, she had been hinting on it. She'd been planting the seeds. And she finally tells us, you should find another guiding light, but I shine so bright.
Mm-hmm.
And she's just like, it's like the final bit of this plea in this entire song, the final like dare reader of it all. She's like, "Dare reader, find another guiding light, but I know you won't because I'm the brightest light. Like I am so bright, you can't see anybody else. But you don't even know me. I'm so bright, I'm blocking out what's happening with me, right? You should find another guiding light. Taylor, I don't want to."
No, like her saying that was crazy. Like everyone was freaking out. Like, like we all know, even before the Eras tour, Taylor was huge. Midnight sold whatever 1.3 million copies or whatever.
Mhm.
She was already like at the height of her career,
Mhm.
and for her to be like, I you don't follow me, don't listen to me, I'm not this perfect thing, this guiding light. I mean, she alludes to it a bit in Sweet Nothing, right? To you I can
Mhm.
admit I'm just too soft for all of it.
Mhm.
And I think her, yeah, being like, so many people are like, oh my gosh, I look up to Taylor, I want to be like Taylor, I want to be strong, I want to be, I want to find, this kind of person, or make sure I avoid this kind of person, or reach my goals this way. And she's like, guys, I am sad and suffering.
Yeah, and then it's also there's just something she's like, I like when she acknowledges how bright she shines, but it's also like she's acknowledged it kind of in this self-deprecating way before with Mirrorball, where she's like, I'm shining on you. You're watching my shattered edges glisten. I'm doing whatever it is to keep you smiling at me. And I think you get that Mirrorballness in this song because she's like, I know you need to find someone who doesn't have all these shattered edges. But I'm not going to dim my shine for you to find somebody, and you're not going to find somebody because I'm shining so brightly at you. So we're stuck together. Like I'm alone, but guess what? You're still going to listen to my advice, even though my advice is not to listen to me.
So
You can't.
funny.
You can't. Like I'm telling you not to listen to me so much louder than the people who could give you other advice.
Yeah, I
I
mean,
love it. I love it so much. Oh, Dare Reader.
yeah, Dear Reader is like, when I think about the weight of her shine, right? Like the sun is actually, it's in the sky, but it's super dense, right? It is a
Mhm.
heavy, it's heavy because of its density and all the gas and stuff. Like she has gravity. Taylor Swift has gravity, and for her to understand the gravitas of that gravity is so, it must be so difficult. I can't imagine. She thinks thoughts that we cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
And so for her to, say like, yeah, guys, like, it's, if anything, this, okay, the sad thing is, the funny thing is, this actually makes us want to follow her more.
Exactly.
Right? Like, this is real. Like, these are true emotions. And granted, obviously, you should not base your life around Taylor Swift's life decisions and her lyrics. They are not your reality. But the reason why she can be a guiding light is she shows us that we all share so many of these emotions, and then we're all
Hmm.
trying to process them in similar ways. And that's what makes
Yep.
her the greatest singer songwriter, perhaps of all time.
Exactly. And that's like that paradox that she's trying to like grasp in the last lines of the songs of, but
Yes.
I shine so bright. Like that
Yes.
is that's the paradox. She's like, you should, you won't. The should is it's very specific. She's like, you probably should. In fact, there are probably better role models out there.
Yeah.
But I just I can't help it that I'm
I
who
mean,
you're
it's
gonna
kind
listen
of a
to.
flex.
It is. It's kind of a flex, and it's also kind of like she's like, I can't help it. I'm the one you're gonna listen to. But if you're gonna listen to me, if you're gonna listen to me, listen to what I have to tell you right now, and it loops back into that vice from the beginning. Like
That's, yeah.
it loops back, and I also like the way the album kind of loops back into itself
Yeah.
because um we go from literally from Dare Reader. I mean, well, then we go into like Hits Different, but Dare Reader is really the ending, and Hits Different is like bonus, but whatever.
Yeah.
We go from Dare Reader back into Lavender Haze.
Yes.
And she's like, well, here's my desperate prayers again.
Yeah.
Let's start from the top. Desperate prayer number one. I just want to stay in this lavender haze.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you think about like you put every song in the context. What?
What?
Anyway, why did Antihero just start playing on my phone? You put
Oh.
every song in the context of a desperate prayer. it really goes crazy. Like you
Yeah.
could look like if we were to break it down, like Lavender Haze is the desperate. She wants her relationship so badly to stay.
Maroon is she wants that real fucking legacy to leave, right? Like, why is this still
Exactly.
here? Why do I wake with you?
Like you could do it to all of the songs on Midnight.
Yeah,
They're all just
anti-hero is I'm a monster on the hill. Someone's,
exactly. Who
everyone
are
hate.
you gonna leave me?
Yeah,
Right? Snow on the beach. She's like, is this real life? Like, let this be real.
let
Let
this.
me have this like
Yeah,
magnificent thing. You're on your own, kid. She's like,
the
her
whole thing.
desperate prayer that she's gonna be okay. That I'm gonna be okay if I'm alone. Right? Everything. It's just so good. Midnight's album of the year, and it won, and it deserved to win. I got jumped for weeks on end before it won album of the year because I was like, it's very obvious it's going to win album of the year. No one believed me,
I'm
but
so
I was
proud of
right.
you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well, since you're on that high, do you have an
Yeah.
emoji suggestion?
Should we do a sun or a star?
Ooh, do a star. Any star. There's
I
lots
mean,
of
the sun
stars.
is a star,
Oh,
but
you can also do the sun. Yeah, you guys could do the sun or a star or a bunch of stars. She does shine so bright. And yeah, this. Well, don't log off yet. I mean, this is the conclusion of Midnight's, but I
do we
think
have to do hits different?
I'm gonna have to look through our archives to see if we do hits different. If one of you guys remembers, can you just comment on our Spotify or on Twitter and let us know if we did hits different yet? There
I
are a
don't think we
few like songs that we haven't really covered that Exquisite and I are gonna look
have. Hmm.
into. I don't think we did the Alcott I know we did
Mm-mm.
Renegade, but we didn't do the Alcott
Or
because
birch.
or Birch. But I don't know how much I like we do Birch.
Exactly.
If she
But the Alcott can be done.
and also, we also might do some kind of like a recap because this is kind of then we're kind of jumping into older stuff. But in any case, we will be back. And the reason why we're like hesitant is like if Taylor decides to announce something, maybe she will. But it's looking like it maybe all of us TS12 truthers. It's looking like it's gonna be like Q4,
A
somewhere
little
a
longer.
little longer. But we're
Um,
patient. We're patient. We
we
can
are, and I think yeah. I just think it's going to be very exciting to get into Evermore and folklore because we can get back into um, this idea. We can talk with hindsight about how writing fiction works to assess writing fiction as self assessment
Oh yeah.
will be very interesting
Oh
to
yeah.
look at.
I'm fascinated to go into those. And then those have a lot of literary devices and things that we're gonna,
And it's going
dig
to be
our
fun.
yeah.
And
So
we get to start with Evermore. We'll give that girl some attention, which is why I think Taylor's going to be like, haha, just
I know in
kidding.
the middle of our Evermore, she's gonna be like, bam, new album.
And we're
Poor
gonna have to
Evermore.
ditch Evermore because she doesn't
Evermore
want us
found dead
talking.
in a ditch.
She doesn't want us to talk about Cowboy Like Me at all.
Well, thank you guys for tuning in. We're so appreciative. We will
Yes, we are.
catch you guys very soon. Bye bye.
Bye bye.